My name is Emma. I'm 40 years old. 10 years ago, I was living the life I had always dreamed of. I met Mark when we were in college. We hit it off immediately. He was kind, funny, and made me feel special. We dated for a year before getting married. It felt like everything was falling into place. We moved into our first home, started a family, and built a life together. Mark was the man I had always hoped for. He worked hard, was always there for our kids, and made me feel safe. Our life together seemed perfect. We had our ups and downs, like any couple, but nothing that couldn't be worked through. I trusted him completely. I trusted our love. Looking back, it felt like a fairy tale. We had everything I ever wanted. I believed we would grow old together, watching our kids start their own families. I didn't know then that the life I thought we had would change in a way I couldn't have ever imagined. But then, one day, everything shifted. Slowly at first, then all at once. At first, I didn't notice the small changes. I thought it was just stress, or maybe the routine of life getting to us. But slowly, things began to shift. Mark started coming home late more often. It wasn't a big deal at first. He worked long hours, and I understood that. But then it became a pattern. He'd leave for work in the morning, and sometimes he wouldn't return until well after the kids were asleep. When he did come home, he was distant. No longer the man who would greet me with a smile or a kiss. I told myself it was just a phase. Work was busy, and maybe he just needed a little space. But as the weeks went by, the distance between us grew. When we did talk, it was brief. His responses were short, and he seemed distracted. I remember one night asking him, "How was your day?" He didn't even look up from his phone. "Fine," he said, his voice flat. That was it. I felt this growing knot in my stomach, but I pushed the feeling away. I told myself I was just being paranoid. Things would get better. They had to. Then, one evening, I found myself waiting for him to come home. I made his favorite dinner, set the table, and waited. He was an hour late. No call. No text. Just silence. I felt a cold panic start to creep in. What's happening? I asked myself. Something felt off, but I couldn't put my finger on it. The night I discovered everything started like any other. Mark was late again. I had just finished putting the kids to bed, and I was sitting alone at the kitchen table. My mind kept racing. I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right, but I didn't know what to do about it. Then, his phone buzzed across the table. It wasn't unusual for him to get a message, but tonight, something felt different. I glanced at it, but quickly looked away. "Don't be paranoid, Emma," I told myself. "It's just a message." But then it buzzed again. And again. I couldn't help myself. I picked up his phone, just to see what was going on. I told myself it was just curiosity, nothing more. I unlocked it, and there it was, a message from a name I didn't recognize. The message read, "I miss you. Can't wait to see you again. I'll be thinking of you tonight." My heart stopped. I couldn't breathe. I stared at the screen, the words swimming before my eyes. I miss you. Those words weren't meant for me. I felt my hands shake as I opened the conversation. The messages were romantic, filled with longing and affection. She called him my love and my everything. I felt cold all over. I couldn't believe it. He'd been seeing someone else. And not just any woman, someone he'd been hiding from me. My mind raced as I thought back to all the little signs I ignored. The late nights, the distance, the secretive behavior. When Mark finally came home, I didn't say anything at first. I just stared at him, holding the phone. His face fell when he saw the look in my eyes. I didn't need to ask. I already knew. I didn't know what to say. I was frozen, holding his phone in my hands, looking at the messages that had shattered everything. I felt like I was living in a nightmare. Mark didn't say anything at first. He stood there, his face pale. His eyes avoided mine, and I could feel the weight of his guilt in the silence. Finally, he spoke. Emma, I never meant for it to happen. I'm so sorry. His voice trembled. I don't know what came over me. It was a mistake. Please, forgive me. A mistake. That's what he called it. I wanted to scream at him. I wanted to tell him everything I felt in that moment, anger, confusion, betrayal, but the words wouldn't come out. Instead, all I could say was, "How long?" Mark hesitated before answering, his eyes welling up. It started a few months ago. I didn't want to hurt you. A few months ago. So all this time, when I thought everything was fine, he had been seeing someone else. He had been lying to me. I felt like my heart was breaking into a million pieces. I stood up, feeling the anger bubble inside me. You promised me, Mark. You promised me we would always be honest with each other. And now I find this. I'm sorry, he repeated, stepping closer. Please, Emma. I can't live without you. I'll do whatever it takes to make it right. I shook my head. You broke me. You broke everything we had. I couldn't stand to look at him anymore. I needed space. I needed to think. Without a word, I turned and walked out of the room. I grabbed my purse and left the house. I didn't know where I was going, but I couldn't stay. I drove to my parents' house that night. It wasn't far, but it felt like miles. I needed to be away from him, away from the pain, and just breathe. Days turned into weeks. Mark didn't stop calling. I didn't answer. I couldn't. Each time I thought about what he had done, my heart broke all over again. The trust we had shared was gone, and I didn't know if it could ever be rebuilt. Then, one evening, Mark showed up at my parents' house. He looked different. There was a sadness in his eyes, a heaviness in his face I hadn't seen before. He wasn't the man I knew anymore. Please, Emma, can we talk? His voice was soft, filled with regret. I stood frozen for a moment, unsure of what to do. I didn't want to open the door, but at the same time, I couldn't turn him away. What do you want, Mark? I asked, my voice trembling. I know I've hurt you, he said, his eyes downcast. I've made a terrible mistake, and I don't know how to fix it. But I love you, Emma. I love our family, and I'm so sorry for what I've done. I didn't know what to say. I wanted to believe him, but after everything, could I? I watched him, waiting for more. I'm not asking for your forgiveness right now, he continued, his voice full of longing. But I'll do whatever it takes to show you I can be the man you deserve. I took a deep breath, my heart racing. I don't know if I can forgive you, Mark. I don't know if I can trust you again. The days after Mar's visit felt like a blur. I stayed at my parents' house, trying to keep busy, trying not to think about him. But no matter what I did, my mind kept drifting back to that conversation. I kept asking myself, can I really forgive him? Can I trust him again? Mark didn't give up. He kept coming by, leaving messages, and doing everything he could to show me that he was sorry. Every time I saw him, I felt a wave of conflicting emotions. Part of me wanted to turn away from him and never look back. But another part of me still missed him. I missed the man I had married, the man who used to make me feel safe and loved. Mark began to show me in small ways that he was trying. He fixed the things around the house that had been left undone, things that had always been his responsibility. He spent more time with the kids, and I could see that he was trying to be the father he had always been. But it wasn't enough. I wasn't ready to forgive him yet. One day, he sat down beside me, and without saying anything, he took my hand. I didn't pull away. I let him hold it. For the first time since everything happened, I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel broken. I just felt confused. I'm not asking for everything to be fixed in one day, he said quietly. I'm asking for a chance to prove that I can be the man you deserve. It was a small step, but it felt like progress. I wasn't ready to forgive him, but I was beginning to see that he was trying. Time passed, and Mark kept proving he was committed to changing. He kept showing up, not with grand gestures, but with small, thoughtful actions. He listened when I spoke, spent more time with the kids, and kept reminding me that he was sorry for what he had done. It wasn't easy. Every day felt like I was walking a tightrope. I wanted to believe that we could rebuild our life together, but the fear of being hurt again held me back. It wasn't just about Elle trusting him, it was about trusting myself to make the right choice. One afternoon, I was sitting on the porch, watching the kids play in the yard. Mark was inside, making dinner. For a moment, everything felt normal, the way it used to be. I smiled as I thought about how far we'd come. I'm not asking for everything to be perfect, Mark said softly, walking out to join me. I just want to be better for you. For us. I looked at him, feeling a quiet strength inside. Maybe it wasn't about forgetting the past. Maybe it was about choosing to move forward. I'm not ready to forgive you completely, I said, my voice steady. But I'm willing to try. We'll take it one day at a time. As the days turned weeks and the weeks into months, I began to heal. Slowly, the anger and the hurt started to fade, and what remained was something new. A quieter, more peaceful love. Mark kept proving he was committed, and I kept choosing to believe in him. I realized forgiveness wasn't about forgetting, it was about choosing to let go of the past and make room for healing. The road wasn't easy, and I still had my doubts, but I had learned one thing: healing takes time, and love takes patience. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share it. See you in the next video.